Welcome back to Africa This Week. Well, Africa and the world finds itself at a critical point in history when terrorism has grown to become a phenomenon, with insurgents having the resilience to strike at will and the power to negotiate for good. From the agony of an endless wait to the hope of a sudden miracle, it is now the case of incontainable joy following the recent return of more than 100 Dapchi schoolgirls from Boko Haram captivity. Joining me to dig deep on Africa this week is Diyeli Aigbe, a security expert and a political analyst. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much. My pleasure to be here.
Very quickly now, what are your thoughts on the recent release of the 101 Dapchi schoolgirls and how that scenario compares with the Chibok girls?
Okay. I want to probably use this medium to thank the government, federal government, for their response, or probably trying to adopt a strategy of, they call it the velvet glove, where sometimes soft approach always get results. Either being aggressive or trying to be more militant or probably using military force. So I want to use this opportunity to thank the government for acting in that strategy of getting the girls back. Some people probably want to read meanings to it by saying maybe it was stage managed. I don't want to look at that aspect of it. I don't want to also appreciate the government, the federal government and the security forces of responding and taking that as strategy of probably negotiating with the terrorists to bring out the girls back. But making comparison with the Chibok girls, there was where the government was very reluctant to take decision, even though probably the president tried to even compare himself with the former president Jonathan. But the response was very slow, and they didn't really adopt a strategy of probably if they want to probably negotiate or use military action. So that's why that period was it was seemingly long, and the government was not really decisive in what option they really wanted to take up. But this government wanted, okay, let's approach a very soft measure approach, that is the velvet glove, where soft approach to get the girls back. Because most of the parents are very, really traumatized, and they don't want to just to please Nigerians. And no, this is election period. They probably want to declare that at least that's a rallying point for the people, so that they will have that, the government will be embraced and appreciated.
Seemingly long is an understatement when you compare 1 month with a couple of years. Okay, exactly. Anyway, how would you describe the government's efforts towards the release of these girls? How was their efforts? How do you describe it?
It was okay. It was, even though Nigerians are reading meanings to it, how, initially the president had to visit some states, Benue, Taraba, to consult with the people to assure the people that the government, whatever it would take, the government to bring these girls back, they would definitely adopt that strategy. And they did, and
was there any transparency in this?
Definitely, the president was transparent about it, or adopting, or making in a very subtle way, but trying to he made it public that whatever it take, they were ready to negotiate. Like previously, the president would have just said no, or probably no, but he came out publicly, and people were criticizing him that why do you have to say you want to negotiate with the terrorists? So he was just trying to show that he's sensitive to the people and with the plight of the people, particularly the parents, because as he is a father of all, so he wanted to demonstrate that fatherly role to the people to show that he cares, and So definitely, some people would have really given us some option to use the hardline approach, but he decided to, okay, let hardline approach, you not always get results sometimes. So let's use the soft approach, and which we can see the result now.
Well, the federal government tells us that the release was unconditional. Do you think a ransom was paid?
I'm not yet to probably to say if definitely, because since the government said...
No, it's your thoughts, just what you think.
I think so, definitely. Because definitely those kids will be, those Chibok girls, Dapchi girls were probably in custody. They probably want to make profit out of it, definitely. To not just be free for all. That's how I see it. So definitely, but government will probably not admit it, because it will probably send this negative signal to the people, to the public, that they are giving a soft approach to terrorism.
Indeed. Well, Amnesty International, in their report, said that the army had a prior knowledge that this abduction was going to take place, and they did nothing to foil the plot. So how do you think this can be stopped in the future?
I read that Amnesty report, but it seems they are really hasty jumping to a conclusion that maybe the military, if they probably look at the terrains of the northeast, it's very, very they have a land mass of land.
I think Amnesty International is well aware of the land mass of the northeast.
Definitely. Well, no, they are not military people. They're just probably observant and probably, So if you look at the psychology, in military psychology, you call it fatigue, battle fatigue, had set in most of those personnel. Most of them are not even trained enough to combat terrorism. Terrorism is not part of this. It's not too part of our culture initially. So when you Boko Haram now with a partnership with ISIS, and now, when we talk about terrorism, we always make reference to foreign countries, America and everything, Israel. But now we're not seeing terrorism on a large scale in Nigeria. They have the perception that Nigerians are fearful, they don't want to die. You can see suicide bombers now, people trying to take their lives at the expense of, So you have to look at that aspect of it. So most of the military people are not really trained. So they were even trained in haste. They had to now, when the president came on board, he now said he got to liaise with some of the regional people to probably train. Initially, the American government were very reluctant to probably to join force with the former president, to cover the attitude of the government and towards the response towards the Dapchi Girls. So, but the majority were not really trained for terrorism. Terrorism is a new form of dimension in this part of the world. So definitely the military would have been fatigue. They call it battle fatigue would have set in. So maybe at that point of time, people, they have families at home, they have children, they want to probably know. So I want to appraise the Nigerian military force, the security. It's not easy to do law enforcement and police in this part of the world because the incentives are not always there for them to motivate them, to prepare them to deliver.
This particular abduction had no signature trait of Boko Haram. For instance, no group claimed responsibility, and we actually saw no video. And that's one of the traits of Boko Haram. They always release a video. So do you think this could have been carried out by a rogue group?
Well, I will not jump to conclusion like that. But probably, the Boko Haram people according to the president, have been taken out of the so they may not have the power as it were. So we just want to be able to get relevance. Have been overshadowed with the power forces of the military and the combined forces. So in way of probably, this is suggesting, or this has been more than 5 years now. So fatigue could have set in their own aspect of it, maybe in terms of equipment. So they don't, let us get enough. We can use a non-conventional way of probably getting attention. Just like when the Al-Qaeda attacked on the World Trade Center in 2001, they used the normal conventional system of probably hijacking the plane, hitting on the World Trade Center to get attention. It was uncalled for. It was not. It's just a normal procedure compared to if assuming you want to probably take a high-tech technology, they cannot match up with the American military. So maybe they would have used that, I'm speculating, and maybe they would have used that tactics. They had even tactics in military warfare of getting attention. So they decided to adopt, just like the president now, the federal government is trying to use a soft measure of trying to get, according to the news I just listened to, he said, President, they're trying to give amnesty to those who are ready to lay down their arms. So the president is trying to adopt the former late president Yar'Adua's strategy of giving amnesty to the militants. So you could see the result of it. So maybe his intelligent people say, Mr. President, let's adopt this measure because the military forces is training our military, that fatigue is setting in, battle fatigue is coming in. So let us use another strategy of people perceive you're a military man, so you want to be aggressive, and use another soft measure. It doesn't make you weak, but trying to at least win this battle. So maybe the president using that strategy of, if you lay down your arms and call the amnesty people, because these people have been brainwashed. There's a cycle going on in the mind that Western education is not called for. So the president should call them, what do you people want? How can we want peace? Because the president said he wants peace. Because we need peace in the election now. We're going to the election period. So the president can just, as a father, we're father of all, we're not trying to make you feel a classy, maybe make you feel we want to just carry you along and negotiate with you. So
well, it's good you mentioned this because I was going to ask you, that the president had offered amnesty to those who are willing to lay down their arms. Yeah. But do you think that this strategy will and can it work?
It will work, definitely. It has worked. Because you can't just always use the hardline approach. If you try to use violence, it will cost you personnel, it costs a lot of money. So laying hands, given that MS, you show that the president is trying to, embrace all of them as a father of all and the president of the country.
Why do we still see pockets of suicide bombings here and there?
Well, they're trying to get attention because of the impact of the Boko Haram, as it were then, when it was not as very visible or active, You know, so they're trying to probably get little attention. We're still relevant. We're still, if you look at period to
we're
when
still
we're still operational.
Okay.
Look at how they declared the state. They had to make an allegiance with ISIS, and there was a massive uprising against them. They regrouped again after some time. So, you know, there's a way of regrouping. You know, so one of the issue I've discovered in North
not just regrouping, but also having different factions now.
Different factions, exactly, exactly. So they're grouping massively. I wonder how, because the region is hardly not developed. There's lack of education. People are vulnerable. You know, so there's a way they psych them up to probably motivate them. I was listening to one of the Dangote was giving an example that if these people are busy, that the way to cure this Boko Haram is creating massive employment for them. Because if they're really busy, they will not have the opportunity to regroup and probably recruit them.
I wish we could go on and ask you what sort of employment to get for these people, but we've
they can get engaged. They can get some. They can get into farming. You know,
run out of time now. Diyeli Aigbe, security expert and political analyst. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you very much. My pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
Well, it's the end of another shocking week, mixed with gratitude in Dapchi town, where families are likely not attempting to take the risk of sending their girls back to school. And after more than 8 years of going on rampage, it is time for Nigerians in high places to stop playing politics with agents of brutality, but ensure that never again will school children be abducted. I have been your guide, Fadeshola Shotingwa. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.